Mike, check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and if you have not yet had a chance to go to your local GameStop to try and take advantage of the buy two get one, it's safe to say it's probably already over. It's Wednesday, which means most stores have probably already been ravaged. Now, the only real hope that you have of finding anything is, I guess, if something comes off of trade hold and becomes available in store. But most of the places that I went to were pretty much tapped out. There really wasn't a lot. I mean, your best day to try and get some deals would have been Sunday, the first day of the promotion. But that would have been the day that the majority of the resellers in your neighborhood or in your area probably already started to attack. So, what that's, and mind you, that's just when it comes to like retro games. Now, you can still find a ton of great deals, if you're looking for Switch games, PlayStation 4 games, even PS5 games. If you're looking for used games in that, and within those consoles, I think you can still find a lot of really good deals. Even online, there's still a lot of really good deals. But I know a lot of retro collectors really look forward to the buy two get one because that's kind of when you can get some of the best deals on retro games. So um, I'm gonna just talk about a few of the retro pickups that I've been able to find during the promo. I haven't found a lot, and I've really found it hasn't been like my typical buy two get one. In the past, like years ago, when a buy two get one came around, man, I was getting all types of stuff. Def Jam Fight for New York, Super Metroid, Shadow of the Ninja, just really heavy hitting games. And I think in large part, that's probably part of the reason why the deals just aren't as appealing to me, because even when some of these really good games do pop up, I pass on them because I already have them in my collection. I don't need to double dip on them in most cases. So I just kind of let them go. Like case in point, I was at a GameStop yesterday and they had a complete in box copy of Def Jam Fight for New York, which I passed on because I already have a copy of Def Jam Fight for New York. One and two, that Def Jam Fight for New York that they had was rough. It was pretty damn rough. So I passed on that. But that being said, if you're in the market for like games that are in the 10 to 15 to $20 range, they've got a ton of stuff. Which I think, is super beneficial to anyone looking to start a collection. So if you wanted to start a retro collection, now is probably one of the best times because there's so many great games that are like 10 to 15 bucks that you could get as part of the buy two get one. So I'm going to show you a couple because I did pick up a few games in that price range, and I'll share some of that with you here. So the first game is this copy of Narc on the PlayStation 2. Not a game that I've ever played before, or I don't know if I've ever even seen this game, to be honest, in store. But I walked in and they had this one. This looked like a really interesting third-person shooter style game. It kind of gave me Chili Con Carnage vibes, like a darker version of Chili Con Carnage. For those of you who know, Chili Con Carnage is kind of like a third-person run and gun shooter type game, almost like a Grand Theft Auto type game, but it came out on the PSP. I don't think it came out on any other console. But that's what the vibe that I got from this game. Interesting game. It was complete. Everything that I got was complete. And just a very interesting and unique one on the PlayStation 2. So I've been slowly building back up that PS2 library, man. It's been a few PlayStation 2 games that I found just this year alone. When you start to think about some of the more notable ones, I mean, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was a game that I recently got. Teen Titans, Dark Cloud, Gauntlet, so there's a few pretty decent ones. So this was one that I went ahead and snagged. Definitely cool to find. Next game that they had on the cheaper side was this copy of Lilo and Stitch. It does have some sticker residue on it, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. But Lilo and Stitch, interestingly enough, is a decent run and gun shooter. For those of you who are wondering what type of game this is, it is a Disney game. You hear Lilo and Stitch, you think it's probably one of those like slow paced, like almost kind of like point and click, type of games, like puzzle type of games. But no, this is a bona fide run and gun shooter game. Kind of gives you Contra vibes, Metal Slug vibes in a way, just in a Lilo and Stitch format. So this one's actually pretty interesting. I've had it in the collection before, sold it, and now I found it back. This one does have some sticker residue on it, which shouldn't be too hard to get off. Like when I look at it, that should be fairly easy to get off of that label there. So not too worried about that. We'll work to get that stuff removed. But still a pretty decent find. And then they also had this complete copy of Mega Man X4, which from a value perspective was probably my best pickup, because I guess complete in-box copies of Mega Man X4, the black label version, are somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 40 bucks. So I thought that that was pretty cool to find complete. I did have to test it because that disc was looking pretty rough. So I did test it. It does work, works fine. The manual's not in the best condition, but it does have the registration card. The label or the back art is in somewhat decent condition, so I'm not really worried about that. For the most part, a solid game, and it's a fun one too. You know, I had Mega Man X4 and 5 on the PlayStation 1 back in the day when like, you know, late 90s, I want to say. I probably got Mega Man X4, yeah, late 90s for sure. And both are really good games. You know, I had never beat it back then. I don't think I'd gotten pretty far, but I never beat it. I beat one. I beat one. I know I beat one multiple times for sure. Two and three, I can't remember. Probably got far in those. Don't know if I ever completed it before. I know I never completed. So this is actually a really cool find, and also nostalgic for me too. So I thought that this was a pretty sweet deal in my opinion. All three games for 28 bucks. I thought that that was a pretty nice deal. So went ahead and snagged those. Those are all going into the collection for sure. Might need to do a couple case swaps, but that aside, I thought it was a pretty sick deal. Next up, then we have this copy of Sonic 2 Advance. So I actually picked this up and then returned it, because at the time I picked it up, I had just gotten too many games. That weekend was the weekend I picked up like Tales of Destiny 2 on the PlayStation 1, Parasite Eve. I was finding all these crazy games at the GameStop near me, so I picked all those up. But Sonic 2 Advance was one that I picked up and then returned it because I was just like, man, I bought too many games. So once I realized the buy two get one came back, I went ahead and snagged it. So I went right back to the GameStop, got it to add this one, because these Sonic games on the Game Boy Advance are actually pretty decent. I think there's three of them. I think there's, and at one point I feel like I had all three, but getting two back was cool. I'm gonna try to see if I can find one and three again. We'll see what happens, but this one was also a pretty cool one to find and add back to the collection, so we added that in there, so that was a nice find. And then probably the most expensive pickup during this promo was this copy of Street Fighter Alpha 2. Now, it does have some label damage, which is a bummer. I hate the fact that it has that. But I rarely ever run into Street Fighter Alpha 2 out in the wild. And, you know, I was willing to take it with that label damage, considering that it was part of a buy two get one. And I bought it with a bunch of games that just made the deal make sense for me. So when it's all said and done, you know, Street Fighter Alpha 2 with a bad label that's free is fine. I'll take it if it's free. So all in all, not a bad deal at all. I would say, you know, all in, this whole package was probably somewhere in the neighborhood. I would call it probably around $52 for all of these games that you see here, which to me, it's not a crazy yard sale deal, you know, but for just being able to walk into GameStop and get pretty much the scraps, the leftovers of what people left over at the stores, you know, it was cool. You know, most GameStops that I went to, pretty much they told me that someone had come in and just, you know, wreaked havoc. You know, people were spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in these stores, buying up every Pokemon game, every cartridge-based game. I mean, you know, and that's right at this point in the collecting market, that's kind of what I expect to happen, especially when these buy two get one promos roll around, because, you know, I don't think the euphoria with collecting is there enough for people to pay full market value for a lot of these games unless the game that they're getting is extremely rare or it's in really good condition. I think condition matters a lot. But when you're getting games at 35, 40% off, buy two, get one free, 420 for 40, when you're getting these deals that GameStop offers, that's when a lot of people are kind of going to come in and just take full advantage. So I don't blame them. You know, if I had gotten there first and saw a bunch of stuff to buy, I definitely would have picked it up too. So I'm not hating on anyone. But I would say, you know, if you're thinking about trying to take advantage of the promo, go to your store today, see what they got. If you have a store in your area that, you know, no one really goes to a lot, or if you can find an exclusive GameStop or something, or if you have a GameStop where you have built relationships and stuff and, you know, they might have something, I would say try that. But, you know, if not, it's all good, man. These sales come and go. These games will be around for some time, and you don't have to rush to build a massive collection overnight. You know, slow and steady wins the race. So for me in my area, though, I think it's pretty much a wrap. I think it's over. I don't think there's really anything left to really chase down. So, but we'll see. There's still probably about 4 or 5 more days of the promotion left. I know a lot of stores get games that come off trade hold. So we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you guys in the loop. Also, their website. You know, GameStop still has games on the website. You could take advantage of the website deals. You know, if the games come loose disc or if they don't come in a condition that's satisfactory to you, you can always return it. You know, you don't necessarily have to keep it. So there's definitely some optionality for you there. But that does it for me. Let me know if you've been able to find anything in your area, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.